to Lost of a Loved One. I'm your host, Tamika Smith.
And I'm your co-host, Erica Legal. Welcome to the Lost of a Loved One.
I wish you'd stay out my closet. What made you put on red today?
No, ma'am. I think you need to stay out of my closet because I think she be in my closet at night when I be getting, because I get my clothes out at night.
Not me.
So, you know what it is when you walk into work and then your manager comes in and y'all have on the same colors.
From head to toe.
From
It
head to
happens
toe.
often, too.
Yes, it does, which is so weird.
That's the strange thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we have another wonderful episode. We're going to be talking about Micah Warmack. And we have Evvie Smith on, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself and Micah. How are you doing today, Evvie?
Hello, how are you? I'm doing wonderful.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so my name is Evie. I'm a mother of seven, five boys, two girls.
And you
Two
still
of my
got
sons.
hair on your head? You still got hair on your head?
Oh, a little bit, a strand or two. Just a strand or two. Yeah. So, with me on Earth right now, physical bodies is two girls and three boys. Two of my sons are deceased. Micah is my baby boy. He would have been 5 years old this year, 2023. He passed away in 2018.
What
Okay.
happened with Micah?
Micah is one of those stories that you hear about. But I didn't notice it until it happened to me. Then I did more research on it. Micah was one of those stories where an African American woman, such as myself, is pregnant and the doctors just aren't listening to you. My son he was moving, he was doing perfectly fine. He had some underlying issues, but nothing that you see people with kids with elements all the time. So that was fine. But I kept telling the doctors, like, on the MRI, I seen again, I had his umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. And I mentioned to the doctors and I asked them to induce me or either give me a cesarean and so that his umbilical cord wouldn't tighten up on his neck furthermore. Their excuse was, he's small, don't worry about it, he's going to flip, the umbilical cord is going to unravel, so don't worry about it, he's going to be fine, don't worry about the umbilical cord. Well, unfortunately, when I went to the hospital, the umbilical cord had gotten tighter on his neck. It was causing his heart rate to decrease. So when they did finally give me, they never did the cesarean because their reasoning was, you have all of your other children natural. We don't want to have you, you know, have to get a cesarean. We can just induce you. They finally went ahead and induced me. When they induced me, my son came out with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. The ligature was so deep inside of his skin and his neck. Even thinking about it, talking about it right now, it bothers me mentally because I can still see the cut inside of his neck from where the umbilical cord.
Oh, wow.
So, how many months pregnant were you when you started noticing something different?
I was around 7, 8 months when I seen the actual. I had an MRI done for him. I went inside the machine, got an MRI done, and I could see the knot, the umbilical cord around his neck then. And that's when I met with the fetal care center, and I asked them, could they put me, because I was far enough then to go ahead on and have a baby. I could have had technically preemie, but they was like, no, don't worry about it. It's going to unravel. So, in long story short, I ended up still giving, which would have been birth to him at 9 months, which I could have did it at 7 or 8 months if they would have just licked and unraveled that umbilical cord off his neck, because he wasn't getting nutrition, he wasn't getting anything, and then ultimately it strangled him to death.
Especially with technology now, people have babies at early ages and they turn out to be fine, lungs are developed, things like that. So I don't understand the doctor's reasoning for not moving forward.
Yeah, and even when you went to the fetal center, they, number one, should have said something or should have like ordered it right away, you know?
Right.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Me too. It's weird to walk into a hospital big and pregnant with your hospital bag, with your baby clothes in there, and then to walk out. It's a traumatic experience. It's very, very traumatic, and it's I believe that experience prepared me for another experience in life. So it's just an
I'm
experience that
sure.
I endured, and it took me to a dark place, and I didn't. It was just very, very dark place.
I'm sure. I mean, I didn't go through it in that sense, but even when I had Demisha, when I had my daughter, and I didn't get to leave the hospital with her, so I can't even imagine how that felt. How many days did Micah live? Did he make it for 24 hours?
During childbirth, they literally made me stop pushing. His heart rate had already stopped, was going down, and they were saying that they couldn't get the heart rate, couldn't get a heartbeat. So during birth, they physically made me stop pushing to unravel his umbilical cord from around his neck. That is how tight, and that's how many times it was wrapped around him. Just to give you a sense of literally, it wasn't I pushed him, it was out. No, I had to stop pushing. One doctor had to hold him while the other doctor had to physically unravel his umbilical cord from around his neck.
Okay.
Wow. And you remembered all this. Oh my gosh. I don't know how you remembered everything like that.
No, it's weird because especially when you have another young child in the room with you, and then you pack up your stuff, and like days later you ready to go, and then when they take your baby, well, first of all, when they taking your baby out of the room, talking about taking him to the morgue, I'm like, no. And so the nurses now worked with me. He stayed with me until I physically left. I was not just gonna let them walk him out. And then my I had a my son was, I want to say, about 5 at the time, and we were walking out, and he kept on saying,
That's all right. Take your
"Mom,
time.
mommy, why we leaving the baby? Mommy, we not gonna bring Micah with us. We can't bring Micah home." And I'm like, and I was telling Michael, like, we're not gonna bring Micah home. But it's hard to explain something to a child when I'm mentally going through it myself. I'm like, and he's like, "But why? Why, mommy? Why we can't bring Micah home?" I'm like, "We can't bring him home."
Right. Right. I mean, it's hard sometimes when you have kids because you don't know what to do for yourself, let alone for them. So
Right.
it makes it hard. Do you feel like you have started to go through a healing process at all with Micah?
With Micah, I honestly, um, I feel like as a mother, I should have advocated more for him. I should have advocated. I should have listened to my inner instinct of knowing there's something wrong with my baby. There's something not right. I already knew he had underlying issues. I feel like when they feel a parent is giving birth to a child with Down syndrome, they feel like that child doesn't have value. But the child, regardless if it's Down syndrome or whatever, you still love the child. It's mine. And so you don't make that decision for me. So it's like I feel like they felt in their minds they were trying to do me a favor by trying to take a burden off me. But it's not a burden. He's my child. With Down syndrome and whatever element, he's mine. And I should have advocated more for him.
Things like researching what type of stroller to get, what type of high chair, different things like that. I remember when you were doing that, but just know And I know it's not easy to hear, or it's easier said than done, but just know that everything in this world happens for a reason. We don't know the reason.
Right.
Sometimes it comes to us later, sometimes we don't ever know. But just know that when you spoke up, you done what you were supposed to do, you're always gonna feel like there's something more that you could have done. There's always gonna be what ifs, there's always gonna be all of that. But just know that when you spoke up, you done your part. And God does things for reasons that we cannot even imagine.
Yeah, it's like when I lost my son, I felt like I didn't have any bones in my body when I dropped, because I actually saw my son cold in front of me and the doctor caught me. So I can't, even though I lost my son, I can't imagine what you went through. I cannot, and I commend you, because I think me, knowing myself, I think I would have lost it. Something.
I did. No, I did lose it. I was physically here, but I was not mentally here. I've been mentally checked out. I've never in life thought about suicide. Never once in life. But the thoughts that came to my mind was never once suicide. I've never, because I grew up in holiness church, so I know that's not an option. But the thought that did come to my mind was, if I was to go to sleep and never wake up again, I was okay with that. So God, take me at your will. And that was like a nightly prayer I prayed. And I had three other sons and two daughters. But the way I felt like I abandoned my baby, I just wanted God to just take me and don't wake me up again. Just do not, Lord, just take me and don't wake me up. I wasn't gonna do nothing to harm myself or do anything like that. But that was a nightly prayer I prayed, that I didn't wake up. I just didn't want to wake up. I did not want to be on this earth and my baby is not here, because I felt like I failed.
What's some things that you're doing now to try to take care of yourself?
Well, I ended up speaking with my kids, because I ended up with just, because you see things change. So they told me, like, when that happened with Micah, I mentally checked out. Like, they knew I wasn't mentally here. My oldest son, he Trey, he would always give me, like, I don't know. Trey is the one, like, he was, you could talk to him about whatever. He was like, okay, and he acknowledged everything was Micah, even though Micah passed away. Every birthday, Trey made sure Micah got his cake. He always would go to Walmart, pick up a cake. He always wore Micah's thing around his neck. Breacia, we always acknowledge him. That's my oldest son, and Breacia's my oldest daughter. We always acknowledge my baby birthday. We acknowledge that he is part of this regardless of what. But my oldest son has always been my strongest, right there, right, everything was, and if he took a picture, a family portrait, he making sure his baby brother
Was
had
included.
this. He
That
always
is
put
so
on there.
beautiful.
Michael was included
You
right
know
there with
what? We was just talking to a young lady, Keturah, in one of our interviews, and she said the same thing about her oldest son. Her oldest son, when it got was it the oldest son or her?
No, her youngest.
Her youngest son, when it got her baby girl, loved Twizzlers. And instead of a birthday cake, when her birthday came, because she passed in February, her birthday was September the 11th. And he went and got a stack of Twizzlers and set it up like the cake instead of a birthday cake. So it's amazing how you find out that your other children paid attention to what was important to you and your other child.
absolutely. And then my one son, he ended up letting me know, um, Mama, I knew that you were going through a lot. And then in the midst of him talking to me, he broke down and just, where my oldest son, he'll come and tell me how he's feeling, and keep it pushing. We'll go from there. But my younger son right under him, he DJ, he was like, he broke down, was just crying, and just telling me he felt really bad. He felt that he missed out. And then I also have regrets about not letting my other kids come to the hospital because they and not see Micah in person because they feel, and I feel like even with my oldest son Trey, he didn't more so say it, but I believe he also had that, it was that emptiness where my mom is going through such a hurtful time, and we're not even there to be able to console her or even see our baby brother. She just let them take him, and we weren't there to see him, But Trey was standing. My oldest daughter was there. She seen Micah and held him and everything. My other son, Michael, he was there as well. But my middle kids, none of the three of them, they were not there. And I regret not letting them come to see Micah, but at that time I wasn't even in the mental headspace. In hindsight, if I had to do it over, which I don't want to ever put that pain on nobody, but if I were to do it over, absolutely I would want my kids to see their brother and hold their brother the same way Michael was able to hold his baby brother and kiss him and just be there for his baby brother.
But
But
like Tamika said, everything happens for a reason. Maybe that child was the one that could not deal with it. That's why, yes, that son did not get a chance
yeah,
to
he
hold
was talking
Michael.
about it after birthday. He was crying. He was just saying, "I wish I would have been able to meet him in person." I'm like, "Yeah, that's true." But I just at that time, my head, I was not in the right mental headspace. So
And they
that was that. I had
understand
to.
that. Trust me, they know their mom, so they understood that, and they knew they were concerned about you. They knew that Micah was going to a better place, and they were concerned about you because you're still down here in what is really hell. So they
Yeah,
understood, trust me. As far as
yeah.
trying to cope, what are some things that you do to try to cope?
Originally, when it first happened, I did enter a group. I am. I'm in a different organization for kids with chromosome disorder. So I am a part of that organization, and they reach out to me just about every other month. I'm always getting something from them, as well as every birthday they always send me something for Micah's birthday, recognizing regardless of what his elements was, he still was your child. He still is my child, and you know they honor and they acknowledge his birthday every year since the day he passed. I
Okay,
get
That's
birthday cards.
nice.
I get or birthday cards from him every year. I get like grievance and counseling things for him for me to go to, and I entered a group on Facebook for babies that had this condition that my son had. But it's but that's all thing, and I just literally just keep it moving. I don't dwell on it. No, I try not to, and I talk to him. He know I love him. I mean, he knows I love him like he's a baby. But it was more so with me. It was just a lot of regret. When it happened to him, I used to go to church and things of that nature. When that stuff happened with Micah, I quit church. I don't think God failed me. I know He wouldn't leave me or forsake me, but at the same time, I didn't want to be bothered. So I just totally quit church. I dismissed myself. I didn't step foot in nobody's church. I wanted to be just left alone. I had been at my job for over 10, 11, 12 years. I ended up ultimately quitting my job. It was just mentally for me. I just couldn't cope. I would be at work. I would break down, couldn't stop crying. My management, normally you get 3 months off for maternity leave. They gave me a 6 month leave, let me take the extra 3 months. And when I came back, I still could not function mentally. So I had to just leave the job all alone. And I let my manager know, like I'm putting my 2 week notice in. And she was nice about it. She told me, Evvie, you don't even have to work for 2 weeks. I'm gonna acknowledge it. I'm just gonna take you off the schedule, and we're gonna give you PTO, and you can come back to work when you want to come back to work. So you are eligible for rehire whenever you're ready to come back. Because I just and they gave me disability. They gave me disability while I was off. Like I can honestly tell you that the job really worked with me. I just mentally couldn't. couldn't do it.
I stayed off when I lost D'Amico. I stayed off for 3 months. I stayed
Mm-hmm.
off for 3 months, and then I was like, okay, let me try to see if I can go back in and handle this. And it actually, because I'm a busybody, so it actually helped me to try to stay busy. And even to this day, I still come up with more things to keep me busy, just so.
Right.
Yes.
But you know what's crazy? As a working in administration, like when people come in, I'm doing all your paperwork at the hospital. So when you come into the my unit and I'm right there at the front desk doing everything, and the first thing they want to ask me, oh, can I see pictures of the baby? Oh, last time I seen you, you were, you was 9 months pregnant, you were due any day, or things like that. That it was just constantly memories. It was just bringing back too many memories, and it was just triggering that sad event. So I just didn't want to keep going through it.
And triggers are something else. Because you could be having a good day doing something, and next thing you know, you could see something, hear something, and all over again, you in the dumps. All over again.
So, Evvie, did you think, at what point did you notice that you started, or are you in the healing process as yet?
I know I'm in a healing process, absolutely, because I don't have those. When I stopped having the thought of praying to God to not wake me up, or the praying, I was just telling him. It was like I'm trying to get him confirmation.
Right.
If you leave, you just don't wake me up.
Right.
When I came into reality, like, girl, you lost your dang on man. It's no good. So I started, okay, let me quit. I stopped that praying, like telling God that, because I realized, okay, I have other kids to be here for. I got to be here for my other kids. So basically, I started doing some self healing, some self soothing and reflection, like, okay, I got to do better for me. And I think honestly, a part of my healing process came from I ended up working for a Catholic organization called Sisters of Charity. And when I tell you, these are some of the most positive, everybody, we all human. So everybody get their own personality. But when I honestly tell you that just from working with these ladies and working for this organization, it has changed my thoughts, my everything. They have really been it's like a family that's not my family. Their
So,
family does not even. It's
That's
like a work
great.
family. Feel like yeah.
so being around positive people has helped you to
I just
cope.
people. I like the energy.
But that's really good, Evvie, because you don't find jobs that's like that.
That's
So
right.
that is really great. And I'm so glad that you have that because of
Yeah,
what you.
yeah. I am glad that I have it too, because I like when on your interview process they ask you, oh, so why did you leave your job? Because it's showing that I had just left my job, and as soon as I left the job, I went straight to them. And so she was like, well, I was like, personal reasons. And they left it alone. They didn't pry and ask you, well, what's the personal reason or anything like that. They was understanding. They know that life happens,
Right.
and it's
And
a
that's
face
not even
down.
normal because these jobs nowadays, normally you get more stress than you do help. So it's good to hear that.
That you have a job that supports you and that you can actually say helped you. That's really, really
And not only
great.
that, though, they actually come and they'll just say how your day going or whatever, and they'll ask you, can I pray with you? Can I pray for you? Things like that. So it's yeah.
And I know going back to what you said about, you were saying that one of your children helped you to kind of snap out of it when they were like, okay, you are mentally not here and things like that. That's actually.
Yeah, DJ told me I wasn't. He knew I wasn't there.
That's what happened for me too. My daughter Demisha was like, I wasn't gonna celebrate Christmas because D'Amico's birthday is on Christmas, and I was like, I don't want to put up no tree or none of this, and that's something we have always done, decorated the yard, everything. And she was like, Mom, you act like you died when D'Amico died. And that's
Right.
what kind of made me snap out of it.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
question that I ask everybody, if there was something that you could say to another parent who has lost their child, what would you tell them?
It depends on honestly how they lost their child, because I'm a mother who lost two children. So if the mother lost a child during childbirth, I would say I'm quite sure you advocated for your child as much as you could and try not to put yourself at fault for it, and know that your child loved you in the womb from the time he was
That's right.
from the time he was from the birth conception day, from the date he was conceived, you loved your child. For some odd reason with Micah, I loved him unbelievable from the date I found I was pregnant. I've never had that type of bond with any of my children except for him. So I
Wow.
just loved him at the time. I just loved him, loved him, loved him. And it's like everybody's different, but I just want that parent to know that long as you know you loved your child and you advocated for your child, or even if your child passed away from SIDS, or whatever the case may be, if it's a baby, just know that long as you gave them your love and you told them you loved them while they had breath or while they were in your womb and they moved around and they can hear you. I don't know. I just feel like try to get yourself some peace, because we all need peace at the end of the day. We all have to find some solidarity and a peace to give us a
That's
peace
true.
of mind.
I would like to thank you so much for sharing Micah's story. And like Evie said, unfortunately, she did not only lose one child, but she's lost two. So we'll be back with Evie to tell the story of her son, Trey Sean, on our next episode.